Aaron, I'm listening to Kellyanne and my own observations and published reports. Israel has been living this number one state sponsor of terror. They're helping Hamas, they're helping Hezbollah, they're helping the Houthi rebels, and Israel is in a battle for survival. They said death to Israel, death to America. So here's where we are. Published reports say they are getting closer and closer in terms of their enrichment. If you're at 60%, the leap to 90%, which is weapons grade, is very, very quick, according to every expert that I've ever interviewed. So that means time now is of the essence. If they want to buy time, I don't think they have time. But time is of the essence if the world does not want Iranian mullahs and the number one state sponsor of terror to have a nuclear weapon. The president said he will act. He said he would also work in conjunction with Israel. Where do you see that we are now? How far along are they in the process, do you think?
Well, it's good to see you, Sean. I think that Iran has been inching this process very quietly but quickly, and I think they're a very real threat. I think President Trump knows that. I think the intelligence is on the table, comes directly from Israel, and so it's not a game. But I want to say this, Sean. I believe that I want to talk about this trip from the way the neighborhood sees it in the Middle East, because that's really what counts here. Iran is that neighborhood. The Gulf states are that neighborhood. And the way the neighborhood sees this trip, which is going to directly affect the decisions that Iran makes in the coming weeks as to what they want to do as far as chasing that nuclear capability, Trump's trip projects that power and deal making. And that's number one. That H-jet escort onto with Qatar, that's a very strong message. Trump's not playing around. He's not asking Iran for permission. And the Boeing deal that I heard you guys speak to with Qatar, again, that shows that American defense dominance in the Gulf region, that's already going to start pulling that away from Iran. So there's a ton of pieces here that are speaking to Iran very quietly and no nonsense. Iran's getting edged out of their influence with this trip, and Trump's looking at Qatar. It's not just a transactional player. So he's taking all of that away, and he's saying, look, I'm going to put all of this influence into the hands of the Gulf region. And if you guys play around, Qatar and all these other states who are getting on board with Israel, Iran's going to have a very, very bad day. And Iran's already losing that leverage. Syria now with that flight that's coming up. So I think Iran's watching this very closely, and it's signaling very loudly.
You just saw my hit on Hannity, and now it's time to unpack it. Right here in the Hamal, Aaron's War Room. And here's the part that I want to deep dive into even further. Trump's trip wasn't just for the American press. It was for the Arab world. Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas. This was psychological warfare here. Part one. And in the Middle East, it's not about what was said in D.C. It's about how you project power in the streets. On the mosque, loudspeakers, on Hezbollah's TV, on Al Jazeera. Trump's fighter jet escort into Qatar wasn't theater. That was a message. The weak horse is gone. The strong horse, the big dog, is back. And Trump's daring every Arab leader to pick a side publicly. You're either with America and Israel or Iran and China. And so these deals, these aren't just handshakes, in my opinion. These are actual weapons, and I'm going to explain what I mean. Trump's cutting massive defense deals. Start with Qatar. Locking them into U.S. military tech, forcing them deeper into our orbit using that magnetic field. And he's lifting sanctions on Syria, but only as bait to push them to flip on Iran. He's tightening security cooperation with Saudi Arabia, making them the regional anchor of the Abraham Accords, which is critical for this region to have that stability. These deals are Trump's tools of war. That's how I see it. Economic, diplomatic, and very psychological, all designed to cut off Iran, isolate proxies, and secure Israel without a single U.S. boot hitting the ground. You ever wonder why I built this show? Because after October 7th, I watched the media lie. I watched people justify terror, and I watched the world turn its back on the truth. So I picked up this mic, and I turned it into a weapon, and this studio into my battle room. This isn't just a podcast. It's a counterterrorism mission. But I'm not backed by a network. There's no corporate sponsors. There's no PR team. This show runs on you. And if the truth matters to you, and if you've ever said, finally, someone's standing up and said it, then help me keep it going. You can donate directly, or you can pick up my deep concealment holster, same one I trained Keanu Reeves on for John Wick, runs below the waistband, never gonna fall off you in lightning fast draw with just a little bit of training. Or you can grab a 3-pack of the Aaron Cohen famous Merkava coffee, strong enough to fuel counterterrorism. Or you can grab a signed copy of my best-selling memoir, Brotherhood of Warriors, The Story Behind the Fight. My memoir is the first American to serve in Israel's top special operations counterterror unit. Every dollar pushes the mission forward. Click the link below to support the show, because never again means now. So let's talk Qatar, or Qatar. This is what I call America's most dangerous frenemy. Without its gas, its terror proxies, and Al Jazeera, Qatar's a sandbar in the desert. They're useless. Trump's using Qatar as a pawn, in my opinion, to trap Hamas in their own living room and cut off Iran's funding routes. That's the first part. And this is part of Trump's larger, it's a proxy strangulation strategy is what it is. And I know the nukes are a big deal, but forget those for a second. We can take out those sites like that. That's the shiny object. Iran's real power, in my opinion, is its proxy army. Talking about Hezbollah, the Houthis, the different Shiite militias that they fund that they can run and have deniability running. Trump knows if you strangle the proxies, you isolate Iran and leave them bleeding at home. And that's why Qatar is being squeezed, in my opinion. We're making a ton of money off them. And that's why Trump's tightening Saudi's leash. I think it's all part of the same war plan. Cut off the tentacles and then deal with the head. So I want to hit Trump's trap doctrine. Explain what I mean. Trump's using these loaded traps is what it sort of feels like. Obviously, he doesn't want to have boots on the ground. No more endless wars. Lifting sanctions on Syria isn't a gift. It's bait. And he's giving Syria's new leadership a choice. You either side with America, normalize with Israel, go shake Bibi's hand, open your economy, or stay a slave to Tehran and rot. And so like I said the other night, or so like I said last night, how did Bibi figure this all out? I say he's got a black belt in Mideast Jiu-Jitsu. And so the same with the olive branch to Iran. I don't think it's weakness. I think that's also a trap. And Trump is putting the ball in their court with a very stern warning. Come to the table or face total isolation. Militarily, economically, politically. And he's daring them to choose. And while they posture with Europe, trying to look tough, because that's what the Iranians do, they know Trump holds the cards. Again, militarily, economically, and diplomatically. And this is Trump's Middle East doctrine in action. This is the way I see it. Flip your enemies, isolate Iran, secure Israel, no apologies, no endless wars. Very thought out and smart. Now let's talk about China. Here's what the media, I don't think, is quite getting yet or talking about. I think this trip is aimed at Beijing as well. And Trump's locking Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the Gulf into U.S. deals to block China's Belt and Road. And what I mean is if China controls the Gulf, they control global trade. And I think Trump's cutting them off at the source, turning the Gulf into an American-controlled fortress. And so let me close it out with this. This is how You speak the language of the Middle East. This is how you dominate without having to put boots on the ground. Little bit of humiliation, sprinkle in some economic strangulation, a little proxy isolation, Trump's Middle East reset in full swing. And guess what? Ashihun Shamudze, the neighborhood heard it. Chazak vebaru, loud and clear. Question for you guys. Do you think that this strategy will work long term? Can Trump use this type of leverage instead of war to control the region? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I read them all. And as always, if you guys value the kind of raw, war room grade analysis, do me a favor, support the show. Subscribe, grab a coffee, Merkava, grab my best-selling holster, same one I trained Keanu on. Share the episode. All of the links are below. Copy of my memoir, The Story Behind the Story, First American to Serve in Israel's Top Counterterror Unit. All the links are down below in the description. Every product sold, every direct donation helps keep the lights on in the studio. As always, I appreciate you guys. Going to come back to it as this continues to develop. I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm Aaron Cohen. You're watching The Aaron Cohen Show, and I will catch you guys on the next one.